Good morning, everyone. We are celebrating episode 500 of the morning show this morning. And to stay on par with the topic of discussion, celebrating milestones. I believe that here today, we live by this. I really like this phrase of on to the next mindset. On to the next mindset. The goalpost is always moving on us. And it seems like it's really hard to enjoy, whether it's the present moment or really the activities that we need to get done in order to achieve our own definition of success. So today is going to be broken down into 3 sections, so stay with us throughout. First, we're going to really break down on our first section, why is it good to celebrate milestones? Why is it so important? We're going to talk about types of achievement that we can have and celebrate. And then lastly, how can we celebrate? So all about celebration this morning, episode 500 coming right at you. It's going to be a banger, folks. Cheers. Let's get to it. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Talk Tanner Morning Show, where we go over tips, tricks, ideas, and exercise to help make you the absolute best person you can be, not only for yourself, but for, of course, the people you love and care about most. Becoming better people, folks, that's our mission here, to help inspire and change, and we are on episode 500. I promised myself I would do 1,000 of these bad boys to try to improve my speaking skills, to try and promote my businesses, to try and increase my personal brand so I can help myself, my family, and people I get to help along the way. Awesome. What a mission, right? On to 500. We are halfway there, 500. What have we learned along the way? Well, celebration, I think, is going to be the key topic for today, learning how to celebrate. I find it fascinating that I even have to talk about this. You would think as humans, like, we love to talk about ourselves. We love to engage in things we're interested in. But when it comes to celebration, there's this weird inner critic. There's this weird, like, pumping of the brakes, this humility culture. I'm humble. I don't celebrate. I don't do that. Look at that guy. That guy has 1 million episodes. That person has millions of dollars. That person has that. So there's no need for me to celebrate here. I'm not good enough. I don't need to be good enough. This is kind of the lingo that goes on in a lot of people's heads. And the thing to watch out for that we want to talk about, we mentioned in the introduction, is this on to the next mindset. On to the next. Be careful of this. Be careful. The timing and the dose makes the poison, folks. So be careful of on to the next. As we climb the mountaintop, for success, and say you're about halfway mark, or you've just made progress, because starting is always the hardest part. We've made progress. We're halfway up our milestone. Now it's time to take a breath of fresh air. Get our loved ones, our family involved. So before we break down into really the steps on how to celebrate, I wanted to talk about a couple different components. In section 1, why should we celebrate? Why? Like, what is so good about this? So let's get this why question out, because people, myself included, I want some evidence. Of why I should be celebrating so often, so much. Shouldn't I be getting back to work? On the contrary, I think taking the moment to recharge the batteries, to get that octane fuel back in. And first benefit is motivation. A question for you. Curious what you think. Do you think there is such things as external motivation? Or is it always internal? Does it start external and then become internal? Is there internal and then it's always internal? What kind of motivations do you believe in? I've been doing more research and reading on this, and I'm questioning. I tend to believe that most motivation, any motivation that's worth a shit over the long haul, is internal motivation. So I think internal motivation is a part of celebration. Celebrating along the way, such as, say, you make a milestone, you want to do 1,000 pieces of content or something, you're at 500. and you're like, holy crap, yes, the motivation for me. Okay, what's another benefit that we have? I would say confidence. I have struggled with confidence in the past, specifically in the sales department. Confidence. And because of the evidence, because of seeing the milestones, because of the congratulations, these are the type of things that help reassure our confidence. So maybe thinking of, we'll get into the types of achievement here shortly, types of achievement, into those types. So you can come up, write out a few of your own examples and this and that. But when it comes to these achievements, we want to be able that we're building confidence within ourselves. Because if you don't believe in your product and you don't believe in yourself, newsflash, nobody else is going to. This is something that I struggled with a lot in the beginning, whether it's talking on camera, sharing my mission and story with the world, putting products and businesses out there. My confidence was pretty low, but I think I have built a lot more confidence and willingness to talk about pretty much whatever. But all right, moving on. I would say I like this idea of reinforcement. Reinforce. There's something special about human creatures. When we prove to ourselves that something is working, we're a lot more willing to continue to do it. People want evidence that we were just talking about. People want a bit of this proof. Adults, I believe, including myself here, folks, I'm trying to improve on this as well. We tend to be too skeptical. We don't have the faith like we did when we were children and these types of things. So we want proof and evidence. But if that's really how our mind's going to work, I'm not always for fighting and changing everything about me in human nature. So it's like, okay, that's how I tend to think a little bit. Let's try and help support this framework to make sure I still get where I want to go. I don't have to change every little nook and cranny of my life to have a good, happy life, but maybe I can reinforce some of this stuff. Really think of this as reinforcement of positive behavior. Positive behavior. Positive behavior. Okay, a lot of writing, folks. We got a lot to get down and get through. It's a special episode 500, so I'm really coming at you this morning. So another reason why it is good to celebrate along the way, I believe, is validation. Validation. Could we say that validation and reinforcement are kind of in the same ballpark? Hell yeah, of course. But they're both damn good. If you watch and do research on things like trauma, validation will blow your mind. People will lie. They will change who they are. We will create these false identities. Think of the ego. I like this definition of ego. This is something I'm trying to learn more about. Ego to me is just the false sense of self. We create this image so we can survive in an environment, part of a club or a tribe or something like that. It's this voice in our head that's barking at us to act a certain way because of what we believe society wants us to do. So validation, I think when it comes to celebrating milestones, it reinforces, gives motivation, and validates the right things and not the wrong things. So you can see we want to build up this pattern, show us as social, emotional creatures that the activities that we are doing, this shit's working, and we should probably keep going along the way. Have you ever heard of the term, a key word to keep in mind as we go through this morning is burnout? Burnout. You got to be really careful of burnout because burnout causes people to what? The ultimate sin in entrepreneurship. You folks know this if you've been a fan of the show, is quitting. Quitting is the ultimate sin of entrepreneurship. And to avoid that, I think celebration plays a huge role. All right, let's move on to the next section. We're rolling right along. Section number 2. I took so many notes for this. I was having fun doing a lot of research, so my notes are all over the place. Okay, types of achievement, and I have that over here on my other screen. So the first type of achievement could be let's do like academic. First one is academic. Maybe you're really proud of yourself. Maybe you've gone back to school. Maybe you've tried another class. I know there's all types of courses online that are really, really great. Don't hesitate to pull the trigger on this type of stuff. Learning is invaluable. So from an academic point, say if your kids got really good grades, or say if they're graduating high school or college, or maybe you're going back to college, maybe you graduated from a business program, maybe you graduated from our program over here at the One Page Life Plan. Whatever it is, I believe academic celebration is a really good one. That one's really fun. There's something so special about acquiring new knowledge and improving and growing yourself. So don't hesitate to celebrate these academic achievements. On to the number 2, I would say professional. Professional. One of my friends recently got a promotion. And you know what he did? Nothing. He just went right back to work. He was like, another day. And the thing that shocked me the most, he was like, it's kind of just more responsibility. I'm like, holy, like, who is this fun for? This sounds tough. And I'm just asking, I was like, how are you going to celebrate? What are you going to treat yourself to? What's one? Can you get a massage? Can you take your girlfriend out to eat? Like, can we realize there's a lot of people who are looking for jobs, can't find crap. Well, there's a ton of jobs out there. People just don't want to take the low totem pole ones. I hear you. I used to be a garbage man. I've done a lot of nasty jobs in my life for not a lot of money. I totally get it. But from a professional standpoint, this is awesome. If you want to play a game of comparisons, let's play it all the way through. A lot of people don't have a job, but professionally, you've gotten a promotion, you changed over to a new company. This is something to celebrate, something to be joyous about. This is absolutely incredible. So professional accomplishments for yourself. Can we get an amen? Can we cheers to that? On to the next one, type of achievement. I would just say personal. Personal achievements. Personal. So professional would be something, an example would be like me doing the 500 episodes. Maybe you got a promotion at work. But from the personal achievements, what did I write down in the notes? So you could do a learning a new language, learning music, a do-it-yourself project. So for us, like fixing something over personal achievement, the other day I cleaned the pond. So I'll just write pond down. The pond is something that's kind of it's a lot of water, pumping it out, cleaning it all out, getting all the nasty nooks and crannies, hands and knees in the dirt and the grind of it and getting it. But now that it's beautiful, the water's running on it, I'm actually going to go out there and work here shortly after this episode. It's going to be beautiful. But personal pond, just what personal accomplishments have you done? Have you done a do-it-yourself project at home to make your home tidier, more organized? What's something that you can celebrate? Did you recently get decluttered, get some stuff out? So personal achievements. It could even be, I had a session with my coach the other day, and he was asking me, what conversations have you been putting off that you need to have? What conversations have you been putting off that I need to have? And yesterday, between my partnership, between some tenants I got, and I'm trying to sell one of my apartment buildings, I had a couple tough conversations, and that was a huge win for me. I was really excited about that. Told my girlfriend about it. I was just talking to some of my coach, like, hey, I'm doing this. It feels good. And yeah, sometimes it's just personal achievements could just be having that conversation with somebody that you've been putting off for a while. That could be a great personal achievement. But let your imagination do the work on the rest of them. But thinking for yourself, what personal achievements could you have? And then also creative achievements. Creative achievements. Have you been wanting to learn how to draw, how to do some art? Maybe you've been wanting to write a little bit more. Some type of creative achievement, I believe, would be worth celebration. And the last one, I would say health. Think like health or fitness. Health, fitness. Have you ran? I ran for the first time in a while the other day, and it felt really good. My body's moving and grooving pretty good, knocked out some miles, and I was like, dang, really got that zone, that higher zone cardio for heart health and all that good stuff. And did I run a marathon? No, but I ran more than I have in a while, and I feel pretty good about that. I think that's worth celebration, even if it's just something like taking a moment to pause, to breathe, and enjoy this cup of coffee a little bit more. Some gratitude and grace in the presence. Present moment is where we want to be, folks. So these were some types. So you're thinking, what should I even celebrate? Well, maybe you go through this category: academic, professional, personal, creative, and health. Have you hit any milestones within this? And if so, this goes to our last section, is on the how. So how do we celebrate? The main word that we want to take down on the how is something meaningful. Meaningful. What would be meaningful to you? For me, this usually includes maybe going, a friend I haven't talked to in a long time. Shout out to Sam, but I'm going to go have breakfast with him over the weekend, this coming weekend. Haven't seen this dude in years. We're going to talk about some business, just talk about life in general and how things are going. It's like, hell yeah, that's awesome. That's meaningful to me. That's a form of celebration. Also, talking to my girlfriend and like cooking something nice for dinner. These are the ways that I believe we can make it meaningful. And for me, as human beings or social emotional creatures, whenever it comes to celebration, for me, I want it to include nature, or I want it to include people that I love and care about. The material things, what the hell ever. Like, cool. Like, it's definitely, there's nothing wrong. We want to get like this awning thing for the pond area to try and spruce it up and make it a little nicer. But that means it's not nearly as meaningful to me. So really the main thing is we just want something that's really meaningful on the how. How do I celebrate? So Tanner, you're saying, okay, I got an academic achievement. I just went through this business program. I graduated. I put a lot of work in. I'm wanting to celebrate. Maybe you go meet up with some of your friends who you haven't seen in a while. Maybe some of your family members, people who you want to continue to meet. Social and emotional creatures, human beings. That's what we are. So this was how to celebrate. I wanted to dive into this today because this initial thought that we have is, in America, in general, throughout the world, I believe we have this on to the next mindset. The goalpost is always moving. It's always moving. And yes, we want our goals to evolve. Yes, we want to continue to strive. And yes, Csikszentmihalyi, if I can say his name right, that love his writings in that book Flow specifically, saying that yes, it is about the reading of the book versus the finishing of the book. So being in the process. But I think life is rich, and I think it's a combination of being immersed in the moment, but also taking that moment as you're climbing up the mountain and you stop halfway and you look around, you take a breath of fresh air, you get some more octane fuel in you, motivation, you get that confidence, reinforcement, and validation that you're on the right track. I know just from my personal experience, I love these benefits of celebrating along the way. I think it gets mixed up with this idea of being humble or being modest, and these are good qualities, but I think these are two different things. And I think celebration doesn't need to be something that's bragging, but celebration can be something that's meaningful and that involves the people we love and care about most. So I asked you today, how can you celebrate? How can you celebrate one of these types of achievements that we talked about: academic, professional, personal, creative, or health and fitness related, to make sure that you continue on your journey? Because the ultimate sin in entrepreneurship, we know, is quitting. Awesome, folks. This was episode 500. Before we get out of here, I had a couple of questions down here that I just have in some of my coaching exercises and some reflection notes that I really like. Is, what has it done for you? So after you achieved this is just something reflection. I need to get this on the screen. I can say it over and over again, but adding the visual, I think, always helps. Okay. What has this done for you? Our first question. So when you're thinking of milestones, maybe you're reflecting in your journals this morning, you just want a question to kind of do some writing. I always like a writing prompt when I'm doing my writing, but what has this done for you? And another question is, how have you grown? I like this one. How How have you grown? How have you grown? Have you grown in, for this, for example, this morning show? I think I've grown a lot in confidence. I think I've grown a lot in my ability to speak, to put myself out there, these types of things. Just try to think of from your milestone, whether it's fitness, professional, how have you grown? And just acknowledging and seeing how far we have come, it just feels good. And it's okay to feel good along the way. This idea of success, I always had it mixed up like it had to be the long hours and the grungy and the grind and all this, like just shit. It's like, man, what is this even for? Right? To celebrate a little bit. Hell yeah. So this was my form of celebration, talking about celebration. I have a fun day planned. I got some stuff I'm gonna knock out of the park, and I'm going to treat myself, and I can't wait to see some of my family and my friends later and throughout the weekend to celebrate 500 episodes. So, holy crap, I already reached it, 500. But it just shows when you're persistent and consistent, this stuff works. So, cheers, friends. I love you all. Celebrate this was why celebrating milestones matters. Episode 500. In case you need to hear it, I love you. You're badass. Celebrate your own types of achievements along the way and see if it can help you in your journey. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, share it with someone who you think could really benefit from taking a moment to pause and celebrate and suffers from this on to the next mindset that plagues a lot of us. So cheers, friends. You guys all have an incredible, incredible day. Episode 500. T-Dog out.